Hi, everybody! How are you all doing today? Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Hey, before we get started with the video, I had a quick question I just wanted to run by you guys. Do you like Tony Chopper? How much do you like Tony Chopper? What's your favorite Tony Chopper memory? On a scale of 1 to Chopper, how much Chopper would you chopper? If you could just take a brief moment out of your day, can I just run this quick questionnaire by you on how Tony Chopper is our new savior, and with his blue and pink hat and his mighty antlers, he will guide us to the promised land? That's fabulous! Yes! We all love Chopper here! This is a Chopper household if there ever was one! Okay, so, it's I don't even know how to transition out of that, so I'm just gonna keep going. It's been a while since the last One Piece movie discussion, right? If we're being straight up, I honestly just kind of wanted to talk about the One Piece movies so we could get to Honey Queen in the second one, and then after that was over, I was just like, alright, I've done my job here. But even to this day, I still get people asking me, he's like, are you gonna go back to doing the One Piece movies? And I'm like, eh. So today, we're gonna be doing One Piece Movie 3 discussion, Chopper's Kingdom on the Island of Mythical or Rare Animals. And actually, fun fact, that might sound rather similar to Gaimon's Island, and in fact, the way it's written is the same. Chinjujima, which just means strange or rare mythical animals. And it honestly seems like, this is, okay, first and foremost, this is a coming-of-age story for Chopper. Alright, Chopper has to go through the trials and tribulations to become a true man of the sea, and to be a true worthy crewmate of the Straw Hat Pirates, okay? So that's a coming-of-age story first. But it's also basically a redone version of the Island of Rare Animals arc, you know? That was only like one chapter in the manga. That deserved an entire movie. Unfortunately, Gaimon does not appear in this. I honestly don't know why. You could have figured out... It's not canon. You could have figured out some way to shoehorn him in. Alright, oh yeah, hi Straw Hats. My island got destroyed and I got sent flying and I landed here. How you doing? It just happens my afro cushioned my fall and I ended up also on this island of other rare animals. Okay, so, this movie came out right after Chopper joined the crew, so after the Drum Island arc, so we're not quite at Alabasta yet. We don't have Robin, of course, or Frankie. Vivi's not even part of this, so it's somewhere, I guess, in between Drum Island and Alabasta. So whatever you want to say, it's not canon, it's a movie. Although this is the first time that really started to come up. Like, are the movies, like, canon with the story? Because, like, the first two of them, you could figure out an easy way to fit them in. Like, the first movie could pretty much take place right before the Baratier arc, like that could have fit, and the second movie could have taken place like right before Logtown or right after. I think it was actually after Logtown because I think Zoro had Yubashiri and Sandai, but you could figure out some way to mix it in, just kind of like how the Warship Island arc fit between Logtown and the Twin Capes arc. So yeah, but this is the first one that really is just like, okay, this makes no sense because Chopper is with them and, you know, Robin isn't, so it has to be before Alabasta, but Vivi's also not there, so it can't be before Alabasta. So it's just whatever. No. This is Chopper's movie, alright? Yeah, Luffy and Sanji and Nami and Zoro and Usopp, they're all there. But it's a Chopper movie, okay? Because Chopper, of course, is a media darling. He's the sole driving force between like 99.9% of every piece of One Piece merchandise that's ever existed. And when he hit the scene, people lost their minds. If you don't believe me that people really go crazy when it comes to cute, adorable anime characters with small bodies and giant eyes, you weren't alive in 1999 when the Great Pokemon Massacre happened. I lost some of my best friends back then. You all know if you've been there through it, but if you were born after 99, you don't know! Alright, so anyway, we're talking about this today, but don't think too much into it, alright? Because it's, honestly, the whole movie is just like, let's give Chopper a starring role. You know, it's funny enough, Zoro does get his own movie, but he's not until movie 5. Chopper just shows up and he already gets an entire movie about him? Kind of unfair. I'm just throwing it out there, but alright, whatever. Alright, so this movie was released on March 2nd, 2002, as part of the Spring Anime Fair, the Jump Anime Festival. They don't do it anymore. In fact, this movie aired during the last festival before it was discontinued, just like the other two One Piece movies, Movie 1 and Movie 2, Clockwork Island Adventure. This was revealed during a double feature alongside a Digimon movie. In this case, it was Digimon Tamers, Runaway Locomon. which, once again, haven't seen that particular movie, but I did like Digimon Tamers. I'm more of a Digimon Frontier guy myself, but Digimon Tamers Runaway Locomon, just by the name and looking at the poster of the movie, is this a movie about a Digimon that turns into a runaway train and the main cast have to, like, stop it? Cause, that sounds pretty interesting. I should probably check that one out. I don't really know. But anyway, Oda himself actually, I think this is the first one where Oda actually released like a statement on what he thought about it, and he released it as part of an author comment, and so of course he's like, yeah, everyone loves Chopper. I would love to be there alongside Chopper. Chopper is love. Chopper is life. You will all be drafted into the Chopper army after this is over, okay? Alright, so the premise of this movie, alright, the Straw Hats are sailing along on the Going Merry, and they get word of a treasure on the fabled Crown Island. So they're looking for a place called Crown Island. Hey, yeah, Luffy, if you see an island that looks like a crown, just stop there. There's supposed to be a treasure, whatever. Meanwhile, Chopper just joined, and he spent, like, literally his entire life on Drum Island, never stepping foot off of that one particular winterland. So, you know, he's not really accustomed or acclimated to the bigger world yet. Honestly, that's one thing I gotta say about this movie, is that it does give a little bit of like a transitionary period for Chopper. That came out a little unusual. But what I mean is, like, okay, you spend your entire life in this one place, and you don't really know what the bigger world is like, so this movie kind of serves to, like, Chopper being like, okay, this is like a tutorial level for him. This is like, okay, Chopper, here's your own adventure, your little level 1 tutorial adventure. If you can survive this, then you'll be okay. Alright, because he has to get out of his shell, and he has to start to understand who he really is and what he wants to do and everything like that, and really gives him a chance to shine as a man. I wasn't kidding about the coming-of-age story. That's honestly, I think, what they're going for here. Chopper is the youngest Straw Hat. He's only 15 years old when he joins up, so yeah, this is ideal for Chopper. So they stumble upon an island that looks like this. You got an island, but then you got all these geothermal vents, like geysering freaking steam into the sky, and the Merry gets stuck on one of those, and the Merry gets launched into the air. Not the first time, nor the last time that's gonna happen, and they, you know, crash down on the island below. In the middle of all this, Chopper gets flung from the Going Merry. He grabs the Straw Hat Jolly Roger before he, you know, as like to hold on to it, but it rips, and he goes flying off to some other random part of the island with the flag. The Straw Hat flag for this entire movie is Chopper's cape. He wears it like a cape. Symbolism, I guess, like, I'm gonna be the hero Chopper, or I bear the mantle of the Straw Hats, therefore I have to make myself worthy to bear the title of Straw Hat. I don't know, I mean, it looks cool. He's running around with a Straw Hat cape the entire, you know, movie. Okay, fine. So, what's the deal with this movie, and why is it an island of rare animals and everything? It's like, alright, well, just like the last two, we have a little kid that will, well, not really, I was gonna say, like, because the last two times it really did seem kind of like just pushed on us. Like, here's a little kid that's just gonna pal around with the Straw Hats for this entire adventure. So this time we have a kid by the name of Mobambi, and Mobambi is essentially Tarzan, like the whole story with how he ended up on the island. He's the only human on the island. What happened was he was traveling with his dad. His dad ended up dying and their ship wrecked on this island, and his dad was a famous zoologist, and so he's living on this island, basically raised by the animals. Mobambi is essentially Tarzan. Also, as you'll soon see, there's also references to the Lion King. So yeah, I mean, you're taking references from a lot of Disney properties, but whatever, I think it works here. And Mobambi is not nearly as annoying as the other kids that pal around with the Straw Hats, for the simple fact that he doesn't pal around with the Straw Hats. He's not like, I'm gonna adventure with you guys! Hey, how you doing? Hey, please take me with you! No, this island is Mobambi's home, and spoiler alert for all of those that I'm sure are on the edge of their seats, Mobambi becomes the king of the island at the end of the movie, so he doesn't really have any desire to leave the island. We learn a little bit about his backstory with his father and how he cares about him and everything, but it's not like the movie's just trying to like, hey, Mobambi, you care about him, he's a little kid, he's traveling with the Straw Hats, you're gonna focus on him. And I think the only reason why we don't get a lot of attention on Mobambi like we did with the other two kids, like Tobio from the first one, is because Chopper is the main focus here, not the kid, alright? But anyway, so the deal is Mobambi was raised on this island by a bunch of animals, and the animal designs are really cool. Out of all of the island's inhabitants, though, the only animals that are able to speak English are a crow by the name of Karasuke, and there's also a parrot. I don't believe we ever get his name. He's just an old, balding parrot, and they're the only ones that can actually speak English aside from Mobambi Mobambi himself, or I guess speaking Japanese, because it's a Japanese movie. This was never dubbed into English, in case you were curious. But other than that, all the other animals are essentially just like crossbred animals, like Gaimon's Island. Just think of that. Some of them have really cool designs. Then there's these things called horn eaters, which are basically herbivores that are really docile, but they go violent whenever they see an animal that has a horn. Like any animal that has a horn or an antler, these things go like blood red rage and like must devour you. Now they're just animals, but the main villain actually uses them as like his minions, so they're gonna play a central role in this movie later on. Also, we have the former king of the island, the Kirin lion, so some sort of like lion king kind of figure. Yeah, see where I'm going with this? Also, by the way, since we're on topic, has anybody actually seen that live-action Lion King movie? Yeah, I never saw it. I saw the original, but I never saw the live-action version. I heard it wasn't very good, but I don't know. Maybe I should give it a shot. Let me know in the comments below. But anyway, the Kirin lion is kind of sort of dead when we start this movie. Like, we actually see its corpse. Like, they're not even shy about it. Like, here you go. Dried out, desiccated lion corpse. Here you go, kids! So, Mobambi was actually raised by this lion. Like, he washed ashore as a baby, and, you know, the lion took him in and raised him, you know, just similar to Tarzan, or I guess like the story of Mowgli, like raised by wolves, in this case raised by a lion. Okay, cool, right? And Karasuke is also taking the kind of the role of Zazu, the parrot from Lion King, so I also found that as well, except Karasuke wears glasses, so that's kind of a step up on Zazu there. I still like you, Zazu. Zazu is the best. So, the Kirin lion is dead, so the island has to decide, like, who's gonna be the next king, right? Now, because this isn't like it's like, alright, well, we will assemble at the courthouse to determine the rites of passage. Now, this island is pretty basic, so it's essentially, let's all gather together in the village square in a circle, and the king will just appear in the center of the circle, and we'll know. We'll just know. We'll know when we know. Alright, so I think you can kind of see where this is going. The Straw Hats minus Chopper all end up on some other random part of the island together. Sanji lands in Nami's lap, which was, I'm sure, amazing for him, but Chopper ends up in the middle of, like, the woods, and he's, like, wandering, like, oh man, I got lost, oh man, I gotta find everybody, I don't know where I am, and he ends up tumbling off the side of a mountain, and of course, as luck would have it, he lands right smack dab in the middle of the circle for everybody gathering, where we will find the new king. We gather together in a circle, and the prophecy states that the king will make himself known. So they all gather together, and Chopper lands right in the center of the circle, which also happens to have like a really spiky rock right in the center. So he lands on the rock, and he's like, oh! Because he just landed on a spike, and it's like this deep up in, okay, yeah, so he's like, oh, that hurt! But in Japanese, king can be read as oh. So he lands on the spike and he's like, oh! And everyone's basically like, okay, we're waiting for our king to appear. King! I guess he's the king! Oh wow, that actually worked! So through a series of, you know, happen chance and just sheer luck, Chopper ends up leading the entire island. They give him a crown and everything, and Mobambi is ecstatic. He's like, yay, you're the new king! Awesome! So, yeah, now there's a little bit of an issue here. One of the subplots of the movie is, of course, I think you could kind of see it coming, like, will Chopper go back to journey with the Straw Hats when he becomes king of an entire island? Or will he choose the life of a pirate, even giving up all of this glory and power away that he was just given out of nowhere? You know, spoiler alert, also, I know you're all white-knuckling like, oh man, is Chopper gonna stay or is he gonna go? He decides to go with his friends and journey the world. Also, Mobambi, as I've already spoiled, is the king of the island by the end of this movie. But, you know, already, that's not really much of an extravagant movie runtime. That's honestly like the entire episode of an anime if you were gonna do a filler episode. Like, yeah, the Straw Hats land on an island, bunch of weird animals, they have some wacky adventures, Chopper becomes the king, he decides his true friends are where he needs to belong, and then he goes with them. That's more like 20-25 minutes runtime, not 56 minutes, which this movie is. And, this is, like the last two, this is all under an hour runtime. I think this is the longest out of the three, though. However, next time, though, in movie 4, we finally get to a theatrical runtime that actually makes sense, like an hour and a half. Okay, so from this point onward, we'll have actual movies, like, you know, the whole length of one, but here we're still rocking less than an hour, which makes it good to watch. I mean, it doesn't, like, overstay its welcome. It maybe drags a little bit, but like I said, the animals in the island are pretty cool, so whenever there is a filler scene and it's just Luffy or, like, the the crew dressing up like wacky animals, and you see them in the background and everything like that. They look pretty adorable. You can tell maybe this movie aimed a lot more toward, like, you know, One Piece is for everybody, but this was back in the early days, so maybe it's like, maybe aiming a little bit more toward little kids and the adorableness of Chopper kind of running this movie. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't overstay its welcome. There's a few scenes that drag, but not a big deal. But my point is, you need to add, a really badass team of villains in order to make this movie make sense, right? Like, you need to have, like, I don't know, maybe some Marines got shipwrecked on the island, so the Straw Hats have to fight them. Or there's, like, an evil pirate that wants the treasure, or something like that. But if those sound any like cool ideas, too bad, because we're stuck with these three doofuses for this runtime. Oh, yeah. I gotta admit, these three guys are a little different from every other villain you've probably seen in One Piece, movie or otherwise. Let's go through them, okay? So first off, we got the leader of this merry band. He kind of reminds me of Moria a little bit, even though this was like 6 years, 5-6 years before Moria was even introduced in the manga. Just in terms of his appearance, he's very pale, he's got a rather rotund body. This, good sirs and madams, is Count Battler. However, in the Romanj, the way his name is pronounced sometimes comes out as Butler. So is he a butler or a battler? He's a battler butler. Okay, but no, he's Battler, Count Battler, all right? And he can play a sick violin. Look at that concentration in his face. Yeah, Shah Poof from Hunter x Hunter, you got nothing on this guy right here, Count Battler. He's also got a tambourine, get this, that can turn into a battle axe. Not like a giant battle axe, just like an axe. It's more of just like a firewood axe. But it was a tambourine, and it turns into an axe. Crocodile, Rob Lucci, Eneru, Akainu, Blackbeard, you got nothing on this guy, let me tell you now. Alright, so, his thing, I'm just gonna describe it, alright? So he claims to be this amazingly intelligent, ultra-uber scientist zoologist that has the ability to control wild animals with his mad violin skills. And the reason is he's on the island is because he is essentially a poacher of rare animal horns. Not the animals themselves, just their horns. Why does he want their horns, you might be asking? To sell them on the black market? Actually, you know what? That would be a good commentary because that actually happens in our world. Like, people actually hunt white rhinos and stuff, and I think into extinction for the white rhinos. I don't think they exist anymore. They're very, very rare for their horns because people think like that you can make medicines and stuff out of them. That actually happens in our world. So that'd be an interesting thing to do it, and it kind of is. But no. He's not interested in selling the horns. He's interested in eating them. As in, literally, he takes rare animal horns, douses them in ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, and then just chows down. How is he able to do that without breaking his teeth? He must have some kind of devil fruit, right? No, he doesn't. Maybe he's coating his teeth with armament hockey. I don't know. He just eats horns and apparently gets stronger when he eats the horns? Yeah, okay, so that's our villain for the entire runtime. Honestly, on top of Moria, he kind of resembles Caesar a little bit to me, just in the personality. And he's like, I'm this amazing, awesome, incredible zoologist. And Caesar's like, I'm a genius scientist. And they're both also very pale as well. So there you go. There's that there. But Count Battler is not in this alone. Oh no, kids. He's also flanked by the mighty General Hot Dog. I am not kidding at all. Why would I make that up? His name is General Hot Dog, who is this elderly man with mighty jowls. Jowls of pain. Kind of reminds me like of Guru a little bit from Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball like the actual story, like Dragon Ball Abridged, because no! Alright. And he's also got, though, on top of being, like, the jowlsness, he's also got, like, a super buff bod, so he's, like, a super buff old dude, which, of course, immediately calls back Lao G. Now, keep in mind, this is years and years and years and years before we get introduced to Moria or Caesar or Lao G. And let me tell you right now, I'm thinking Oda, he was looking at the designs, like Oda always plays a role in designing the characters for the movie. Now, I don't think it was ever like explained like straight out in an interview like Oda was the one that designed all of these villains, but considering he's done that with so many other One Piece properties, he very well might have, or at least played a role in the designing process, okay? So, that means that I might actually be onto something here. Like, Oda is writing the Dressrosa arc, and he's like, man, I'm gonna introduce a really buff old dude. Yeah, kind of like General Hot Dog. I remember General Hot Dog. I'm gonna make him canon. Lao G! Alright, yeah, okay. So that's General Hot Dog, the strongest man in the world. Yep, that's actually how he announces himself. And then we get President Hebi, or President Snake, because Hebi just means snake in Japanese. So we have Count Butler Battler, General Hot Dog, which really, really is getting dangerously close to porn star territory. And ladies and gentlemen, next up on the center stage, General Hot Dog. Yeah, and then we get President Hebi, who is, by his own account, the most beautiful man in the world. Now, it actually is really funny because when the crew meets them, they're just, like, wandering the island, like, trying to find Chopper, and they're just... Luffy actually draws a picture of Chopper, so that's a pretty funny moment where he keeps showing that picture to people. Hey, have you seen our crewmate around? He looks like this. And, you know, his drawing skills are horrible, so that's a pretty funny running gag in the movie. But anyway, they're just wandering the island, and they just run into these three having a picnic on animal horns, and they just walk up to them, and then he comes out like, I am Count Battler! And I'm General Hot Dog, the strongest man in the world. And Zoro's like, whoa, strongest in the world? Like, Zoro's ears perk up at that. And then President Snake walks out, and he's just like, I'm the most beautiful, most handsome man in the world. And Sanji's like, most handsome? And he even tries to hit on Nami, which, you know, that's not gonna go well, right? I mean, he is gorgeous after all. So, if nothing else, just in terms of their designs and their personality, you can't take these guys seriously, but they're not intended to be. They're meant to be, like, hilarious, and I'll be honest with you, watching this movie, they actually live up to that, because these three are just taking the goofy dial and just dialing it up to, like, beyond 10. It actually works in a weird way. I'm watching them, and I'm like, these guys are, like, a bunch of clowns, but I kind of am entertained by them at least, and I know how this is going to end, and spoiler alert, Zoro and Sanji beat the crap out of Hot Dog and Hebi, and then, well, we're getting kind of into the end of the movie here, so I gotta explain a little bit more about the plot, but yeah, Luffy and Chopper kind of take on Battler. Okay, so anyway, Battler is on the island because he's heard about this treasure too. He's heard about this great treasure, and there's all these really rare animal horns on the island. So they're like, all right, I'm here to poach all these animals and everything like that. But he's not a pirate. He even says later in the movie, like, I'm not like some, low-life pirate, but he's a poacher. A poacher pirate, so much better. Okay, anyway. So he takes out his mighty violin and he, throws down, and like Luffy ends up getting hypnotized by it as a callback to Syrup Village with Django's hypnotism. Luffy gets hypnotized by it, and the Horn Eaters on the island also get hypnotized by this violin. And so they start rampaging and attacking everybody. And like I said, any animal that has horns gets attacked by these things, so they're really rather dangerous when they get all riled up by Battler. Okay. Meanwhile, Chopper is kind of hanging out with Mobambi, and he shows him the ship, or the remnants of his father's ship, and we see a picture of him. He's like, I really love my dad. He died, and we washed ashore here, and the lion raised me, but now he's dead, and if you're not going to be King Chopper, I don't know what I'm going to do, And so he talks about how his father was a famous zoologist and everything. Okay. What this all boils down to is that Battler ends up, there is a reunion between the Straw Hats and Chopper. That actually happens about a little bit shy of halfway through the movie, where they meet back up, and they have a little banquet, and Chopper starts to question, like, oh, should I go with them, or should I hang out on this island? Because Mobambi needs me, and these animals need me, and I'm a doctor, so if these animals get sick or get hurt, I can help them. Maybe my place is to be here. And keep in mind, like, this is right after he left Drum Island. So it's like the Straw Hats arrive on Drum Island, like, come with us, Chopper. And then, like 5 days later, they end up on this island, and there's like, well, maybe I should just stay here instead. I mean, being a pirate and everything, but he's also kind of conflicted because he's also carrying around a picture of Hero Luck's Jolly Roger, and he remembers Hero Luck a lot in this movie, so that's kind of nice that we get little scenes with that where he remembers, he's like, Dr. Hero Luck, you wanted to be a pirate, maybe I should be a pirate, oh, maybe I should be the king, I don't know what to do. More than anything, Chopper has to learn how to make decisions for himself. He can't just rely on the Straw Hats making decisions for him or fighting his battles for him. He can't let anybody else tell him what to do. Chopper has to decide what he wants to do. So there's like a little bit of a running theme through that movie, which is nice. So in the middle of that quandary, Battler actually blows up the ship that, Mobambi's father had, and he actually finds his notes, and he's like, aha, I found the notes. It says the great treasure of this island lies in the horns of the king. Now, the Kirin lion we saw earlier has these really immaculate golden antlers coming out of his desiccated corpse. So that's the treasure. That's the goal. That's what at least the logbook is talking about. But Battler doesn't know that. So he just shuts the book and he's like, all right, which one of you is the king of the island? Because I'm going to kick your ass and rip your horns off. And then Chopper, of course, is the king. So he's like, huh? And then Battler's like, if you don't arrive, if you're not down here to, rip your horns off and I can have that treasure, then I'm going to slaughter every animal on this island. And so that's where the final climax, that's kind of where the peril comes from, you see. Okay. So, everybody kind of gets separated into separate battles here. Zoro ends up fighting against General Hot Dog. Sanji faces off against President Heavy. And the Horn Eaters are on Rampage, and it's up to Nami and Usopp to kind of deal with them, so they kind of draw the short stick out of this whole thing. Although, to be honest with you, even that subplot is pretty cool, because Usopp uses this really cool boomerang and to kind of lure the Horn Eaters away, and he's kind of like running away, distracting them. Hey, check it out! I have a boomerang! They're like antlers! Come here, you dumbasses! And then they follow him. Meanwhile, Nami is on top of rocks, like doing these complex, like, she's doing like physics calculations and like math, and just like, wait a second, okay, if we lure them into this rocky valley, and if Usopp fires a gunpowder star directly at this cliff, then it'll all these rocks will fall down and it'll block him in, and the wind is this direction. Okay, Usopp, fire a shot right there, 15 centimeters to the bottom of that rock, where that little piece of, like, clover is. That should win. And Usopp's like, okay. And so there's a little bit of a moment between Usopp and Nami. That's nice. So cool. And then the Horn Eaters get, trapped in this giant little cave-in, and they can't get out. And so, or like a landslide. And okay, good. That's Nami and Usopp's contribution to the movie. Also, because I'm me, I noticed this was the first movie where Nami's boobs begin to play a little bit of a more prevalent role than previous installments. They get a little bit of busted up. Not much. Maybe like they upped her like 1 cup size, but we're getting there. We're building up more and more until we get to movie 7. So, yeah, that's gonna be my driving ambition to get through the rest of these. We gotta get to movie 7. Because then that's the boob paradise. Robin's in that one. Oh my god, it's glorious. Alright, so anyway, moving back to the actual battles. The battle between Zoro and Hot Dog and Sanji and Snake, they're not really all that interesting. We do get to see some cool animation, like Zoro fights against Hot Dog in like a swamp, so he gets like his feet trapped in the mud, and then Hot Dog like boom, like uppercuts him right in the jaw, and we get to see him like get wrapped around in a chain, and President Heavy has like this sword, like this bendy sword. Kind of reminds me of Ohm's sword a little bit from Skypiea, although Ohm's was made out of the iron dial, the iron like cloud, so he can like bend it, it's malleable, he can make it whatever shape. But when it comes with President Heavy's sword, it's more mechanical, so it like breaks apart like it's on like a chain and a sword, and he kind of whips it around like a sword whip or whatever. He whips it around like a sword whip, yes. So they initially kind of kick the crap out of Sanji and Zoro respectively, but then they both decide that like, alright, we've had enough of you getting your kicks and your hits in, it's time to fight for real, and then they slice them down. Although there's a really cool scene, I have to admit, right after they slice down their respective enemies, they kind of complement each other. But they're fighting in different locations. Zoro's fighting in a swamp, and Sanji's fighting in like a cave. So they're not next to each other, but there's a scene where, like, Zoro's fighting against this martial artist, Hot Dog, and then he slices him down with a Dragon Twister, and he's like, there's a guy I know that kicks way harder than you. He's a major pain in my ass, though. So he's kind of complimenting Sanji, like, man, your kicks are nothing to Sanji's. And then, likewise, Sanji's fighting against a swordsman, and then he kicks him down, and he's like, man, there's a swordsman I know that's way stronger than you. Man, he's a real pain in my ass, though. And they both walk away. So they both compliment one another, but at the same time, they're like, like shitting on them at once. I like that. I like that little moment between the two. That was worth it. Okay. But now all we have left is Count Battler. So how does he do this? He's like, well, Luffy and Chopper go up against him, all right? And what he does, he actually ends up getting the golden antlers, and then he eats the golden antlers from the Kirin lion, and he turns into lion, bear, yeti, monster, furry thing, Sulong, mink. He turns into this. Don't ask me what the hell is up with this guy's biology. I have no idea. He eats antlers, granted they're golden antlers, and he turns into a giant monster. He also can take the antlers and he can heat them up. So once again, we have like another enemy in a movie that has the power of a heat fruit. Not really a fruit, it's just heat powers, but yeah, they had to fight against Bear King last time. He's like, I have the hard fruit. I can make my hands really hard and have them heat up. And then we have Don Asino later on in the Ice Hunter arc. Then we have Oven, and then we have, Ace and Akainu that both have, heat or fire or magma-based fruits. A lot of heat or fire-based abilities in this story, and this just adds to it. So, Luffy fights against him a little bit, but Luffy ends up getting knocked off the side of a mountain. So Chopper is like, it's all on you, buddy. Luffy's out of commission. Until Luffy manages to climb his way back up to the mountain, this is your climax for your movie, buddy. It's Rumble time, bitch. Bring it on. And so Chopper fights him, and he uses guard point and arm point and everything, manages to, bam, smack freaking Battler right in the head, and he cracks his skull and starts bleeding, and he's like, rah! So good job, Chopper. Good job. You get a hit off the main villain, but Luffy has to be the one to finish him off, so Luffy manages to get his way back up to the top. He grabs the antlers, they heat up, and then Luffy, just through his mighty shonen power of, hey, Luffy, wrap it up, the movie's got like 10 minutes left, boom, breaks the antlers in half, which causes the transformation to revert, but he does not turn back into what he normally looked like. Instead, he turns into, oh my god! Kill it! Kill it immediately! Kill it with every type of fire that exists in the One Piece world! Oh my god, what is that? Okay. I'm just gonna do the rest of the movie review from over here, guys, alright? So, yeah, Luffy just Gumu Gumu no Gatlings that thing directly into your next nightmare. And, the threat is resolved. Go Chopper Luffy team, I guess? So, yeah. And the award for the strangest slash most interesting slash bizarre slash confusing One Piece antagonist to ever exist in this franchise goes to Count Butler Battler from movie 3 for his strange and out of nowhere and extraordinarily complex and confusing monster transformation and subsequent reverting into an emaciated zombie. Yeah! Okay, honestly, I have no idea. Like, he's half mink. This is part of his Sulong. He doesn't have a devil fruit. Like, he doesn't. Like, it was never stated he has a devil fruit. So maybe he did have a devil fruit and he just never mentioned it. It never came up. I don't think he ever got wet. Did he ever get thrown? Maybe he did. I don't know. But it's like, God. All right, well, anyway, Luffy just boom, launches him to the moon. He'll be Eneru's problem. I don't know. Anyway, so the movie ends with Chopper deciding to travel with the Straw Hats. You're my real friend, Chopper. You're my real friend too, Luffy. All right. Chopper takes the crown, gives it to Mobambi because, he's the one that's been living on the damn island and being raised by the former king. You think this would have been a freaking no-brainer, but Mobambi becomes the new king of Crown Island. And the end of the movie, actually the latter half of the whole movie, takes place at sunset, which actually adds some really cool visuals. I really like that. But at the end of the movie, the geysers erupt again, but during the sunset this time. So the geysers actually do look like a proper golden crown, which was the real treasure all along. The island was the treasure, in case you didn't get that. All right, then. And so, yeah, everybody makes up. Everyone's copacetic. It'd be like, okay, magical crow, random parrot, everybody's good. All right, the battler dude's gone. Everyone's defeated. All right, cool. Mobambi, good luck being king. If the world government shows up, good luck with that. Later. And so the Straw Hats all leave, and, yeah, end of movie. Now, the ending theme this time is a little bit different from the last ones. The ending theme is Mabushi Kute, which I think is the only time it's ever used in the One Piece franchise is this, because last time they used Believe, like the opening of the second opening in the anime they used as the ending for the last movie. But they had like little previews of like the Alabasta arc and the Drum Island arc and everything at the end of the last movie, so I thought they were going to do the same thing for this, like we were going to see a preview of like Jaya and Skypiea, but no, we don't. We just rather have flashbacks to the Straw Hats when they were children. So we get to see Luffy and, you know, Shanks and Zoro and Kuina training, and then Sanji and Zeph. Zeph kicking Sanji to the ground with his peg leg. We see Usopp running through his village like pirates are coming, and we see little Chopper alone on Drum Island by himself as a poor abandoned reindeer calf. And the last scene is actually pretty cool. You see all of the Straw Hats as kids meeting together on a cliff. Now, they never met when they were all kids, but this would be like some kind of like Flintstone Kids or Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo adventures. Like, that's what happens after One Piece is over and they're done with ideas. Straw Hat Kids adventures. You know? I'm gonna be king of the pirates! You know, like, what would happen if the Straw Hats all met when they were kids? Yeah, just go with it, right? Okay. But it was a pretty cool ending, alright? And so, yeah, not much really to the movie. That's pretty much all we got. If you love Chopper, you'll probably love this movie. If not, probably not for you. If you're not a Chopper fan, definitely. This would honestly be like a torture device if you were not really a big Chopper fan, honestly. And just to recap everything really quick, out of the 14 movies that currently exist in One Piece, 2 of them are centered around Chopper, 1 of them is centered around Zoro, and 1 of them is centered around Luffy's hat. And yet we don't have a Robin-centric movie yet. Life just isn't fair sometimes. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was worth the wait, if nothing else. Next time, we'll be talking about the first proper theatrical released movie of One Piece, Dead End Adventure, featuring Drake and Gasparade and Robin Sean. See you back here next time, guys. Let's say in, I don't know, December. See you back in December, everybody. Signing out. Oh, sorry, Barry. I didn't know you were back there. I mean, I apologize and everything, Barry, but come on now. Chopper was the main, he was the main draw to this video. He was the main focus.